Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing? Well, in other news, there didn't really seem to be a whole lot of stuff moving this morning, to be completely honest. Everything seemed a little bit slow. So really, the only thing that let me take that off. And so the one thing I'm considering trading is probably going to be Netflix. And actually BNGO, now that I look at it here pre-market, doesn't look terrible. This could actually have like a move early in the morning. So that's probably worth watching now that I'm looking at it. Gotcha. All right, 1 second. All right. Should be good now, Wizard. Should be good. What he said. Yeah, well, Josh, don't know what to say about that. We got to run on here. So, with that being said, good morning. I'm long LKCO. Have I made a big mistake? Honestly, I couldn't tell you for sure. I haven't actually heard the ticker LKCO. Yeah, there's really nothing here. I mean, if you look at it, it's just kind of there's actually a ton of volume on it for some reason. Yeah, but I mean, if you look at it, it is definitely a downtrending stock right now. It's been a downtrending stock, so yeah, not sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because what you're doing, if you're buying into a downtrending stock long bias, then the only thing you're doing is counter trend trading the trend. So usually you have to be in and out quicker because your move is just a counter trend to the actual trend. So I wouldn't be holding that long on my shelf. So anyways, just going to quickly touch on Netflix here, and then we can kind of go through a bunch of other things. So if you look at Netflix from yesterday, earnings squeezes all the way up, and then it gets sold into pretty much all day. This is what I was talking about, and I was saying most of the past earnings reports that we've seen with Netflix where they push up on the day, they end up fading out. So that's, again, why I wanted to be short bias on it. Today, it's still kind of fading out. And after seeing how much it sold off yesterday and then just kind of continued fading back down through the remainder of the day, kind of breaking down a bit today, I think I'm going to remain short bias on the stock before trying to be long bias. So I think after seeing the aggressive sell-off yesterday from Netflix earnings, it just makes sense to continue remaining short bias on the stock today. So going to be following Netflix short bias. Other than that, there really wasn't a whole lot that I liked too much. How to buy options when gapping up or down. I am a newbie. Well, buying options isn't buying stock, so whether or not the stock gaps up or down, it doesn't actually have anything to do with how you purchase the option. So yeah, I mean, you just when you say how do you buy an option, you just you go to Robinhood, and if you have Robinhood, and go to where it says buy options, and you buy an option, or sell your options if you already have the options. Thinkorswim, you go to the trade tab to where you'd buy an option. So that's really just it. There's more that goes into how you actually trade them correctly, but we obviously couldn't get into that right now. But yeah, I mean, that's just it. The actual gapping up of a stock up or down doesn't have anything to do with the actual purchasing of an option. Thoughts on EFTC and KO? So KO did report earnings today. This is something that we are going to keep an eye on. It's like the one earnings report today. I mean, there's a couple, but this is really the only one that I've even considered looking at. But yeah, this is decent. I mean, so far pre-market activity is good. It's got decent volume, but if you look at the daily chart or the 4-hour chart, you'll see that it's right up to the 52-week high, right, or pretty close. So this has maybe a little bit more room to run over 55 towards maybe 56, but I just don't see it breaking over the 52-week high today. And yeah, so maybe up to 56, right? And you can already see by if you look at KO here, you can see the days that it typically has aren't very big. So you already know that its average true range is pretty small, which means, you shouldn't expect some monster move out of Coca-Cola because it doesn't really have a naturally big average true range to begin with. Will Roku keep running? Hold on. No, white dotted line is not a custom VWAP. It's just the same VWAP, just a white dotted line. Fran? Haven't seen that stock in a couple weeks, seems like. Yeah, so yesterday was the first breakout day of that move. So today would be worth watching for continuation. Yes. Oh, yeah, I think... I can't remember who told me about it. It was like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was like last week. And I couldn't remember the ticker. And yesterday I was like, what was that one stock that somebody showed me, told me to look at, that was holding over the 200 moving average? But yeah, this is great. Yeah, you should definitely follow that for continuation. This looks really good. Yeah, definitely worth watching today. Definitely moves on low volume, so it's not like a day trading stock, but more of like a swing trading stock for sure. Will Roku keep running? I mean, yeah, I could definitely keep moving up. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that, but the higher it goes, the more that I don't want to be buying into it, right? I mean, we've already bounced from 100. We're up to about 140. It's a 40-point bounce. You're starting to come into the really aggressive down days where we started selling off on Roku. So at this point, I'd be starting to shift more to like a seller mentality rather than a buyer mentality, right? Buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high, right? So more of a seller mentality for me on Roku right now. Thoughts on BNGO? So BNGO already had its running day a couple days ago, so you shouldn't expect it to have a really monstrous move today. If anything, today you're just looking at more of a dead cat bounce day. So yeah, it could have a little bit of a nice move, but don't expect something crazy, monstrously big, unless something crazy happens. But if anything, yeah, if nothing crazy really happens, then it should just be a typical day where you might see a somewhat of a decent move up, but it's not in a setup that should have a monster move by any means. Amazon's been fading out, if I'm correct. AMZN. Amazonia. Good old Amazonia. Just great. I see. Yes. Well, you can see it's already broken down trend, right? I mean, if you look at this trend, that was kind of the major trend that it was holding. We broke down there, so it's still trending up. I mean, now it's got like kind of like a new dip here, so there's a good chance you're going to kind of just see it trade back up maybe to this trend line, and then that's your new trend line resistance, right? So whenever something's trending, breaks down trend, and then it gets back up, it'll usually see that trend line as resistance. Doesn't mean it has to go down. Could actually start trending back up, but stay below this trend line. But for right now, in the short term, I wouldn't really be a buyer on it. I'd be more of a seller. Again, here's a dip. It's gone on its bounce or its rip. It's back up towards a little bit of a seller location. So again, if I map it out like this, it'll become much more clear. Properties, buy, and properties, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So right now I'd be like in the short term more on the sell side of Amazon myself. Can you do Home Depot? Surely. Home Depot into a 52-week high. I would just probably remain long bias on the stock for right now. There's really no reason to be short bias. I would just be remaining long bias on the stock. Nothing really too much more there. Yep, just trending into a 52-week high. No reason to be short. Just continue being long. From a quick overview. I mean, of course, there could be way more going on, but how many day trades can we make a week? You can make 3 day trades in a 5-day trading period. Yeah, so again, if you open your car door and then you close your car door, that's like opening a trade and closing a trade. And if you do it all on the same day, that would be counted as a day trade. But if you open your door on Monday and then leave it open all night because you're an absolute idiot, and then you close it Tuesday morning after you found it already rained and you're even bigger of an idiot, that's a swing trade. That is not counted as a day trade. So, as long as you don't open your car door and close it in the same day, then it is not a day trade. Thoughts on Shop? Good old Shoppy. I think it is just the most overpriced company ever. But then again, what do I know? Shopify starting with a lower high. At this point, I would be short-term bearish on the stock. I'd be looking for, it's kind of interesting. It kind of rejected D. Yeah, in the short term, I probably remain bearish on that stock. That's what I'd be doing for right now. I wouldn't be bullish on it until it starts getting back up over like call it 350. Yeah, like 347, 348. I wouldn't really be bullish unless it's basically getting back over 350s, that area. Yes, you can buy stocks long or short as long as you don't sell them. But I can tell you that is a great way to lose, because what you're doing is you're naturally changing your trading strategy due to limitations of you not being able to day trade. So you go from day trading to simply swing trading because of the limitations. So now instead of you looking for day trades, you're just scrambling around looking for stocks that you think might be good to buy that might increase overnight because you can't trade, and that's not a good strategy. And I see a ton of people do that when they just start trading because they can't day trade more than 3 times in a week, and they go, oh, well, I still want to trade, so they start doing swing trades or start trying to buy stocks and hold them overnight looking for an overnight gap up or something, and then it usually doesn't pan out and it just turns into a losing trade, and it's not a good strategy. I never buy stocks before earnings. Right? Trading stocks before earnings is just, again, not a really great strategy. If you can't, for example, buying a stock before, well, let me put it this way. If you're considering buying stocks before earnings, then you need to at least learn how to, what am I saying here? How to project the implied move of the earnings. If you don't know how to figure out the estimated and or implied move of the earnings report, then there's no way that you should even consider buying a stock before earnings in regards to a trade, because you have no idea how much it's going to move. Well, you never know for sure, but at least by knowing the implied move, you have a good understanding as far as what your risk would be and how much you can actually lose if it really goes wrong. So unless you can actually figure out the implied move of an earnings report through the options chain, I wouldn't even consider it. TDD, what is your something? TD, what's your opinion? Is it the same idea as we? The trade desk? No, TTD is not the same as WeWork. Yeah, I'd be on standby with that. I wouldn't really be anything because there was a nice dip buy there, and as you can see, that was a nice support. So there was a good dip buy to be buying. Other than that, But at the same time, I mean, you got to think logically about it. The only way that this is getting back up towards these highs if it forms into a wedge pattern and short sellers get squeezed out. Because the way they're looking at this is uptrend, dip, back into an uptrend, potential top, comes all the way down, back to the support, bounce. So now right now it's a lower high. Right, lower high, yeah. So now it's Jesus Christ. Sorry, excuse me. So now it's really just a downtrend. So people are going to be short. And then the only way that it's going to be getting back up towards highs is if for whatever reason this gets short squeezed or people fail to recognize that it's still long bias and they start kind of betting against it. And then it bounces back up and then forms a new uptrend and forms up a pattern formation because it's already lost the uptrend. So it's no longer an uptrending stock for the short period of time in this picture. And there's a head and shoulders pattern, right? I mean, if you look at it, head, shoulder, down, up, head, down, back up, shoulder, down. Like that's the pattern it's in right now. Until that formation doesn't pan out, that's what it is. All right, no problem. On margin, 305 cash account, yeah, no limit. You're exactly correct, Mr. Carter. Whoa, why do we do that? CDC, please. I don't really have too much time, so I'm not going to go over CDC because we all know marijuana stocks are being hit down hard. So, yeah, I would still, I mean, CDC is worth watching, yes. I'd be more, I'm just more optimistic on the marijuana industry kind of stocks coming back, so I'd be a little bit on the long side of that. Is it possible to sell options with Yes, it is possible to sell options with a $2,500 account. But you're probably going to have to own an option first before selling an option. So basically what that means is in order to actually write an option, it depends too. You have to have the right tiered account, but I don't think the money's the issue. But anyways, in order to sell an option, you either have to own the stock or you have to have options, right? So when you sell an option, you can't sell an option without having something to sell. So if you're going to write, and the best way to say it is actually write or issue, right? Writing an option to somebody else for purchase, you need to actually own shares of the company. So for example, if you wanted to write me one option contract on AMD, you would need to own 100 shares of AMD in order to write that one option, or else you can't write the option to me. Or in noobish terms, sell the option to me. Everyone says sell, but really it's write. But anyways, if you wanted to write me the option, you could do so if you had 100 shares of AMD. If you don't have the 100 shares of AMD, you can't write me 100. You can't write me a contract because each option contract is one contract but worth 100 shares. That's actually how it works. So what's the other option? Your other option is by maybe buying a call, right, or buying one option, right? If you buy one call option, then in theory you own 100 shares of AMD because one option gives you the control of 100 shares. You don't own 100 shares, you have control over 100 shares when you own an option. This might be confusing to some of you, but so really your option to writing an option, that was so many options, but this is basically works. If you want to write somebody an option, you either have to own at least 100 shares of whatever stock it is that you want to write the option of, or you need to buy an option to have control over 100 shares, and then you'll be able to write somebody else an option for purchase. There's a lot going on there. I know. Check ATVI. Have Call of Duty coming out this week. Call of Duty is trash, but all right. If you say so. Not gonna lie, I did download Call of Duty Mobile. It's kind of cool. Alrighty then. I think you should be long bias ATV. I said this a couple weeks ago. I still say the same thing. I think long bias is a good way to look at this. I won't play the earnings, but I do think the stock is more of a long stock. And we're already entering into the gap fill location. So there's actually a good chance when this earnings report comes out, this spikes right up to at least 62. Yeah, I could easily see that. Earnings report, ATVI, green on earnings report, spikes up, fills the gap at 62 or 65. LB did get downgraded or something. I noticed it was gapping down today. Do you put your money on SLV forward for the long term? No, I don't put my money on SR forward. Absolutely not. SLV, I would consider that. Yes, I already have money in SLV. So yes, I would consider SLV, but not Ford. Screw Ford. Actually, I have no idea. But Ford, I don't know. It's terrible stock. It seems like it just never performs well. And there's just many other stocks out there to trade. I don't need my money in Ford Motor Company. What do you think about MDR? See it hitting 3 soon? Yeah, but potentially. I mean, they got smoked. I remember not too long ago they dropped from like, I don't know, maybe like 10 or 13 all the way down to like 1. And so, yeah, they'll probably bounce back up to about $3. I could see that. Do I always go all in on my trades? No, I do not always go all in on my trades. Sometimes, yes. Many times, no. Power pre-market is just balagna. Baloney. I know how to read, but balagna is always a better way of saying it. Always moving, we cannot tough while it bounces 5% or below. Pre-market is just baloney. Always moving, and we cannot touch it while it bounces 5% above or below the price. I'm not sure if you're talking in regards to options, but you can trade pre-market if you choose. Not on options, though, on equities. It is good to wait 10, 15 minutes after the bell for many people. It can make trading a little bit easier rather than trying to catch the first 1 or 2 minutes of the stock. Yes. How do you know if these stocks will have a midday run? You don't know if the stocks will have a midday run for sure. What you have to be able to do is be able to identify strong stocks on the day, and then based on the way they've traded in the early morning session into kind of the later morning session, based on how they're forming, how they've traded, what the news is, you have to be able to identify formation that you believe could lead to a move midday. I've been able to predict, not like I'm a genius, but just through practice, through doing it so often and all the time, that you get to the point where you can just look and be like, yeah, that stock's probably going to go on a move around 1 p.m., 2 p.m., or midday because of the way it's traded, because of the way it's formed. So it all comes down to practice, knowledge, learning, practice, knowledge, learning, practice, knowledge, learning, losing, winning, wake up, losing, winning, over and over and over and over and over, and that's how you know. You don't know because someone's going to tell you. Well, you do if you're trading with someone. But you don't know because of this or because of that. You have to formulate it for yourself. Nobody's going to give you a red, no one's going to come out with a flashlight or waving sirens or flares or, Jessica Alba's not going to show up in a bikini saying, hey, Connor, come with me. Maybe in my dreams, but it's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think. So, unfortunate. So nobody's going to sit there telling you that it's just going to happen, right? You have to be able to formulate that for yourself through practice and trading. Alrighty, as much as I'd love to stay mingle and jingle, I gotta run. Gotta get back to our private group, but I do appreciate you guys all tuning in as always. So everybody take care. Have a great day. And for those of you that haven't yet joined the Boiler Room Trading private group, just know it's the 18th. It's October, which means we're going to have a little bit of a Halloween sale coming up. So if you haven't yet joined and you want to, and you can kind of sit on the sidelines for maybe another week or so here, feel free to do so because we will kind of release some sales letters and emails, and we'll send them out when the time's ready. So everybody, have a good day, and I'll see you guys on Monday.